turning to next week's budget. Now, I don't expect the Prime Minister to preempt what's in the budget. If I want that, I can read it on the front page of the Times. But can the Prime Minister at least agree with me today that now is not the time for tax rises for families and for businesses?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know about you, but the budget is happening next week. It's not a date that is concealed from the right honourable gentleman. He knows when it's happening. He knows what to expect. But it's preposterous for him, Mr. Speaker, to talk about tax rises when he stood on a manifesto only a year ago, Mr. Speaker, or a little over a year ago, to put up taxes by the biggest amount in the history of this country. It is the Labour Party, Mr. Speaker, his Labour Council in Camden, that puts up taxes across the country. That is the way Labour behave, and it's thanks to prudent fiscal management by this government that we've been able to fight this pandemic in the way that we have.
Yes,
he wants to talk about tax rises. And he should, because this matters. Councils up and down the country are being forced to decide now whether to put council tax up. That's a £2 billion rise on families. I'm not blaming councils. They've been starved of funding for a decade. And Labour and Conservative councils are in the same position. For example, the Prime Minister might want to concentrate on his own constituency. His own council, Hillingdon, Conservative-run Hillingdon, is voting to increase council tax by 4.8%. Does the Prime Minister think that they're right to do that?
Prime
Mr.
Minister.
Speaker, Hillingdon Council, in common with most Conservative councils, has been running lower taxes, lower council taxes than Labour, up and down the country. He's completely wrong, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to correct him. The top 10 highest council taxing councils in this country are run by the Labour Party, Mr. Speaker, and they are all going to put their taxes up, Mr. Speaker, except for one in those top 10, which is Burnley, which is currently in no overall control, Mr. Speaker. And he talks about London and my own record on taxes. He should talk to the current Labour Mayor of London, who is putting up his council tax by 10%, because I can tell him that the previous Conservative Mayor of London, Mr. Speaker, cut council tax by 20%. That's what Conservative councils do.
Keir Starmer.
The fact is, Mr. Speaker, that £15 billion has been taken out of council budgets over the last 10 years. The Prime Minister stopped blaming others for the damage he's done, and he quotes the Mayor. This was the former Mayor who bought water can that can be used, spent millions on a garden bridge that never got built, and then more recently given a pay rise to Dominic Cummings. Mr. Speaker, this is another PMQs with yet again no answers. And the truth is this. The government spent a decade weakening the foundations of our economy and our country. As a result, we have the highest death toll in Europe. We have the worst recession of any major economy. Families are facing council tax rises and millions can't afford to self-isolate. And all the Prime Minister offers is a return to business as usual. Next week's budget is a chance to choose a different path, to build a stronger future, to protect families, to give our key workers the pay rise they deserve, and to back British businesses by supporting 100,000 new start-ups. Will the Prime Minister do so?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, if you'll only wait till next week, I think you'll find that we'll do far more than that paltry agenda that he set out. Far more than that. And I must say, Mr. Speaker, it is quite mystifying to see the way the right honourable gentleman weaves hither and yon like some sort of druidical rocking stone, Mr. Speaker. One week he claims that he supports the vaccination rollout. The next week he actually attacks the vaccine task force when they're spending money to try to reach hard-to-reach vaccine-resistant groups, and says that kind of spending can't be justified. One week he calls for us to go faster with rolling out vaccines, when he would have stayed in the European Medicines Agency, which would have made that rollout impossible, Mr. Speaker. He vacillates, Mr. Speaker, we vaccinate. And we're going to get on with our agenda, cautious but irreversibly taking this country forward on a one-way road to freedom. And I very much hope that his support, which has been so evanescent in the past, will genuinely prove irreversible this time, Mr. Speaker.